Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this very cold Friday. My name is Cara Ryman, and I work with the Library Development Department for the Maine State Library. This session came out of everything that we heard on MSL's recent listening tour. We heard from everybody that homeschooling was really picking up in your libraries. And so we pulled this together, and I want to really thank all of our speakers today for being willing to come on and share what they've done with you. We're going to go ahead and make sure everyone's muted. So if you could just do that to make sure there's no issues with captions or sounds. We'll do questions at the end, but you can go ahead and put them in the chat box as you have them, and I'll try to make sure I catch them to ask them at the end. The speakers are going to go ahead and introduce themselves when they start. And I think that's it for now. So thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to Sierra.
Hi, everyone. I am Sierra Wood. I work for the Department of Education, and I'm the School Approval and Enrollment Specialist. But as a part of that, I'm also the Home Instruction Liaison. So a pretty big part of my job is fielding questions about home instruction from constituents, parents, schools, kind of working with everyone that is involved in home instruction. So I put together a few slides that have basic information about home instruction, but a big part of this is really just to say hi, and this is my face, and you're going to get my email as a part of the slide deck. This isn't going to cover everything because home instruction has so much that goes into it, and I really hope that you will just reach out to me if you need any help. Even if you're working with a family and they just have a question, please hand my information out. My information is on our home instruction web pages, which will be a part of this as well. They are really helpful. I have worked for other state agencies, and sometimes I'm not always going to say, go check our website, because sometimes there's not a lot on there, right? But our home instruction webpage, the Department of Ed has really great web pages, and there is a lot of really good information there. It's not going to cover everything. There's weird situations that come up. A family might need some extra support, all kinds of things, but it's a good place to start to get some basics. So beginning home instruction, you may even have a family who comes in and says, like, I want to do this, or maybe I have been doing this, but I've never submitted the paperwork the way that I was supposed to do this. I don't know what to do or where to go. We have a link to our portal right on our home instruction page. They can do it themselves. The family can do it themselves online. They can also do it on a paper form at their local school. Every single school has a home instruction point of contact, and they are typically somebody that is in the central office, superintendent's office. A lot of the people that I work with are the superintendent, or they're the administrative assistant in the central office. That is the person who's going to be putting in the notice of intent and processing the assessments that are passed in as a part of home instruction. So they are a good contact person for a family to have if they are going to be doing home instruction. The family does need to do that within 10 days of withdrawing from school. But if they are doing this on a recurring basis and they're starting fresh at the beginning of a school year, it should be done before September 1st. It needs to be done every year, and that sometimes doesn't happen as well. So that's also a great little thing that's on our web page. Sometimes people think they just have to put it in, and as long as nothing changes, they don't have to do it every year, but they do. And the reason for that is because there's an assessment that's required at the end of every year, and they will be prompted to upload that when they go to do the next year. So I've got the link to the portal, and I also have the link to the paper application, and that gets sent into the local school. Some people do send a copy to the Department of Ed, and you don't need to do that. We don't process them unless somebody is in an unorganized territory, and then we have a team that does that. So why is it important to do this? We need to know where kids are, and we need to make sure that they are receiving education. And home instruction has a whole bunch of leeway, but there are a few things that you do need to do. And one of them is to fill out that notice of intent. So when a student is enrolled in a public school or in a private school and they stop enrollment there and they start in home instruction, if you're following that rule and doing that within 10 days, this covers the family for truancy reasons. So this is going to cover your kiddo, and the department knows where they are, and they know that they are doing home instruction with their parents, and that their parents have taken over responsibility for their education. The other reason, kind of thinking way ahead for a lot of people doing home instruction, but it is important. We have employers and colleges and all sorts of institutions that reach out to the Department of Education very regularly, daily, as well as local schools. They reach out to see, did this person do home instruction? Did they fill out everything they were supposed to do? Did they do it every year? Was there a gap? So some places do check into that, just the same as they would if you put down that you had a diploma at a school, at a public school. They may check into that. The military as well, I get those pretty often. They will reach out to me and they will ask, was this person in home instruction? Are they all up to date? Was there, were they receiving everything they were supposed to? So those are some important reasons that you need to do the notice of intent. If we can go to the next slide. So there are requirements with home instruction, and they, as you can see, this isn't everything. It's just kind of the intro, but there's an amount of days where instruction needs to be provided. You may say, what does that mean? Well, that can mean all kinds of things, because the curriculum is the choice of the family. And so that can look different for every family. We do get a lot of constituent concerns or questions like, I think this family is doing home instruction, but I don't think that they're really doing home instruction, because home instruction can look very different from public or even private education. It can be experience-based. It can be, there's so many avenues that families take. So that's something that's important as well, is that the curriculum is the responsibility of the family once they start home instruction. A question we get all the time: I've pulled my kid out of public school, or I've pulled my kid out of private school. Can you send me the curriculum? The Department of Education does not provide any specific curriculum to home instruction students. It is the responsibility of the family and the parents or guardians once they start home instruction. There is, I won't read this all out, but there are subjects that need to be covered within certain grade spans, and there's a computer proficiency, things like that. The annual assessment I did touch on, but that can be fulfilled in many different ways. And that, I didn't list them all out because there are quite a few options. That is all on our webpage as well. I see a lot of families utilize a certified teacher in the state of Maine to review their home instruction portfolio every year. We also have some students that will go and do their annual assessment at their public school. And we have a lot of variety of families that are doing lots of different things, and their intent may be different. They may have a kid who just does home instruction for a month or two, and they fully intend to return to the public school. There could be all kinds of things going on. So I'm happy to have those conversations with any family that you are working with or interacting with if they're not sure what to do or where to go. The other kind of thing that I will just mention is that a lot of people do work with home instruction groups, and there may be a home instruction group in your area that's very local. There are quite a few in the state of Maine. We don't recommend any certain one, but I just always like to mention it. If you think that the family needs some hands-on support with anything like curriculum or navigating paperwork or things like that, I'm absolutely happy to help navigate our end of things. But when it kind of goes beyond that and it's getting into curriculum and things, and they may feel like they need some more guidance, those groups can be pretty helpful, or even just finding kind of a buddy in the community, somebody else that's doing home instruction. And I would imagine that a library would be a pretty good place to be connecting, because you may have multiple families who are doing this. So I think that's the basics, but again, there are so many different things that come up with home instruction every single day. It's a different question, a different scenario. It would be really impossible to cover it all, but please know that you can reach out to me anytime. I do speak with constituents really multiple times a day about home instruction, so I'm happy to help.
All right. I guess I'm next. I'm Samantha Cody. I am the children's librarian at the Wyndham Public Library. I've been here for about 7 years. And this is the first library where I've done a more formal homeschool approach rather than just kind of doing something off the cuff when asked. So, Cara, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so library skills for homeschoolers at the Wyndham Public Library involves working with families one-on-one. And we have 5 sessions that they attend over the course of a school year. So I'm not doing a big session. I'm working with either all the children from one family in a group, or if there's kind of a wide age range, like a kindergartner and a fifth grader, I might even split the family up and do one session with a first grader and one session with a fifth grader. And I want to note that my program is heavily influenced by what was happening at Skedampa Public Library in Damariscotta in about 2023. They were very gracious and provided me with a bunch of templates and feedback about how they were doing their program. Um, and I based my program off of that. Next slide. Uh, so how I structure mine, in a normal year, in late August, early September, I do a kickoff event where I have a slideshow and I answer questions for families. Um, the biggest questions I usually get are people who think they can just drop in at any time to have library skills, or they want something more in a group setting. This year was a little bit of an unusual year because I had some turnover in my department. So I didn't do a kickoff event. I just advertised in my local homeschool group that I was able to start it up. So like I said, families sign up for times that work for them during blocks that I reserve for that time. And this has been a learning process. Like, for example, I wanted to give families opportunities to come in and do library skills in the morning, and I would do it after story time. And I quickly realized that trying to do any one-on-one work with a family when there are a bunch of toddlers running around was not maybe the best idea I had ever had. So right now, the Thursday afternoons and anytime on Friday, because we don't have story time on Friday, is what I have designated. And then we only do one session per day unless like some type of weird weather event is happening or something else that causes the library to close. Some families like to do 5 weeks in a row, boom, 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 get it done. Some prefer to stretch it out and come in every other week, which is really my preference because it gives a little bit more space, and it's a little bit easier for me to fit lots of families in. And then some prefer to do it monthly, or they'll schedule it around whatever family trips they have. Like I have one family that always goes to Florida for March, so they like to do a couple before they travel to Florida and then a couple after they come back. Um, One other thing that I do that isn't on this slide is I have a punch card for the families, and I encourage them to visit any library 10 times. while they're doing library skills. And so for that family in Florida, they come back and they tell me, oh, when we were in Florida, we visited this library 3 times. And I just do it honor system and I give them 3 punches on their punch card. Next slide. So these are the 5 sessions that I do. Um, I'm going to go over them a little bit more, but I'll just quickly say so it starts off with here's the library. What do you like how do you act in a library? Here's a tour. And then my library is on Minerva. So we talk a little bit about the Minerva system. The library organization and genre is how they find books in the library. What else does the library offer? I talk about things like passes or cloud library there. And then there's a check-in and reflection. This list specifically covers people who are doing library skills for the first time. As they repeat years, we go and do research, some basic research skills, media literacy, or this year I have my first groups that are doing year 3, and they have given me specific things that they want their kid to work on. And so I'm catering it to them. So next slide, please. So this is a map of my children's room. This is the one that I use kind of with the younger kids, and it just has blocked out different areas in my library. And they get a clipboard and they get a box of crayons and they color in the square that matches what they are labeling, and then they make a mark next to the label, like the words. So that way, if they don't necessarily know how to spell librarians area, I point out which dot it is. So that's our interactive element for this session. This session is usually the longest. I normally have my sessions go 20 to 30 minutes. This one, I tend to be a bit of a talker. It can go more 30 to 40, especially if they want to see what the upstairs is like, and I make an effort to introduce them to the staff. So then session 2 is going over Minerva. So it's more talking to the people at the circulation desk, talking about how long they can check books out, how many books they could check out. And then we talk about how you search the Minerva catalog. And then we go and we practice finding just a few books. And then if you go to the next slide, Cara. That's not mine. So that looks like I don't know what happened, but
Sorry, hang on one sec. I don't know how I got to the end of the slideshow. One moment.
yeah. All right. Well, I'll just start talking. So week 3 is a scavenger hunt, and basically I go over what spine labels are and how we organize things in the library, and then they get a scavenger hunt sheet. It looks like what's about to be on the screen. So it's a big font. And I have now one for year 1, year 2, year 3. They also get a little like red cart, kind of like the carts, I mean the baskets that you get at the grocery store that they get to put their books in, and they usually are really excited about that. The questions I ask in the scavenger hunt range from finding me in a book about a specific topic to having them find something that they like on the shelf. And then week 4 is going over all the different things that I talk about, the media we have. I talk about passes, cloud library, our library of things. So week 4 is going over stuff that libraries offer that aren't traditional print books. And then if you want to go to the next slide, Cara. So week 5 is an overview of what we learned. So I kind of give a quick overview of everything. I ask if they have any questions, and then I ask for feedback. And I try to be very clear that um, I understand that there may be parts that they didn't like, and they should feel free to tell me that. Um, so I had one child tell me that if I could have made the whole thing Minecraft themed, it really would have been a lot better. Uh, and I told him that I wasn't sure how I could do that, but I would work on making more Minecraft related things for him for next year. Um, and so I try to have different learning styles, and whether or not they actually do this library skills reflection is sort of honor system. And once they've done this, and I usually give them the letter that says that they completed library skills, and I sign it. And the letter kind of goes over the different topics that um, we did that year. Um, and I have given copies of most of my stuff to Kara to be hosted on a LibGuide. And if people need editable versions, I'm happy to share those in the future. Next slide. So I do it this way because my community specifically asked for library skills instruction. I know that other libraries may do things differently, like they have like a homeschool hour. Uh, but for me, my community was asking specifically about support with their library skills. Um, and it works for me because I want to make sure that I'm also really supporting our public schools. And so this narrow focus reduces any friction points that I see about helping these two different communities. I get to know the families really well because I'm working with them one-on-one, which is not something I always have the opportunity to do with other kids, especially when I'm doing programs where there's like 20 to 30 kids at a time. And another fun aspect for me is I get to know what surrounding libraries do. I don't limit my program to just people from Wyndham. So I do have some people who come from libraries or towns surrounding. So like yesterday, I called Kate up at Walker and I said, "Hey, I'm about to have some kids who primarily use your library. I don't want to talk about all the library of things items I have at Wyndham because they can't check those out. So can you remind me what you have at Walker so that I could tell them, hey, you could check this out, but I can't." And for some reason, for some kids, that's really exciting to them that they can check something out that I cannot. The fact that it's a Nintendo Switch is just icing on the cake, I think. It reminds me to check in with my fellow libraries once in a while, um, which I know some of you are probably shocked that I need an excuse to do, but it's nice to be reminded that I should be checking in with my colleagues. Next slide. I saw that a couple of questions kind of go by about like time and stuff. So I wanted to make some notes about why this works for Wyndham. So we have three full-time staff in youth services in Wyndham. So there's two full-time in children's, one in teen. So there's almost always somebody to cover the desk while I'm doing these sessions. The other thing I'll say is that right now we have usually less than 20 families sign up. So the number of people that are using it um, is not I usually only have 2 to 3 homeschool sessions a week. So that feels manageable for me. And then the other thing is that our meeting room can only hold 50 people at a time. So sometimes at the kickoff event, I can't even fit everybody who wants to know about it in the room. So doing stuff that work in smaller groups works really well for my community. And I believe that's my last slide.
Hi, everyone. I am Sarah Lesko. I'm the director at the Ellsworth Public Library. I've been working in libraries for almost 14 years in California, Arkansas, and now this is going on my 4th year in Maine. So Ellsworth, if you can't tell, we really like to have fun there. We like to dress up in costumes. Homeschoolers are really important to me because of my time in Arkansas. We had a huge homeschool population. We did a weekly homeschool hour that had about 85 kids attending every week with eight. I was the youth services director with 8 staff under me, and we were all involved in homeschool hour every week. So I tried to bring some of that background to Maine. One thing we did in Arkansas that I brought here was learning kits. So we have a small but mighty library of things in Ellsworth. We're up to 73 items in adult and youth. I started our youth collection with the learning kits that was specifically geared towards our homeschool families and resources they had been asking for. So all of the kits, I try to include 1 or 2 books, a game and or puzzle, and then something else that's fun or different, interactive, something that you wouldn't necessarily want to buy for yourself, that it's better to share. So I have a couple pictures here. Our space and time telling are both very popular kits. I'd say over 50% of the collection is checked out all the time. We received funding for this collection through the Maine Community Foundation. We got $7,000 2 years ago, and we've just been slowly using it. I try to add a couple kits every few months just based on demand. Anytime I see a family checking out a kit or returning one at the desk, I ask them what they would like to see. So on the next slide, I have a list of all of our items. This is just the learning kits. We have a lot of other things, games, puzzles, more fun items, but this was specifically the curriculum kits that we put together. These all check out for 3 weeks. We do let people renew them. That I know some people don't who have these items in their collection. We do also allow our patrons to put holds on them. So that kind of helps. If we know there's not a hold on something, we let it circ again. Why not? They have been super popular, well loved. We try to replace things if they get lost. We do have a cost on all of the items in the kits, and we haven't had any real issues yet with a lot of items being lost or damaged. So our patrons have been really great with the use of this collection. Next slide. We also do homeschool hours. So we have one full-time youth services person who is in charge of our homeschool hour along with our assistant director. And they do this once a month. We started it by doing it every week, and that really seemed to be too much. So we cut back about a year ago, and once a month really works for our community. It's on Wednesdays at 10:30. The best programs we have found is bringing in an outside expert or someone who can give these families something that they can't do at home. So we have a picture here of, we had Hour of Code, a woman who was a local retired computer science teacher led Hour of Code, which was so fun. We're doing it again at our homeschool hour this year since people really loved it. On the right side, we have a cheese making workshop. So we try to bring in all kinds of different unique experiences. And these were just some of our most popular ones I have listed here. We brought in the firefighters, with their fire truck, and we did a fire safety, a park ranger, game warden. Our library skills was very popular. Ours is not quite as intense. We only did one 1-hour session. It ended up going over people. It brought in a lot of new families. I think we had about 50 people that day, which was great. And then our group has really liked doing kind of service projects for crafts. One of the most popular is making different things for the local assisted living facilities. So we've done that a couple times for Christmas or Valentine's Day, making holiday cards. That's been popular. Next slide. On to Brandon.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Oh, good afternoon now. My name's Brandon Dyer. I work at the Auburn Public Library, and everyone, if anyone wants to know, they can take a guess what I'm sitting on underneath that lovely trash can. If you want to take a guess, put it in the chat. If you want to guess, I'll reveal at the very end so everyone can think what it could be. But I've been to Auburn Public Library for now 4 years. I got out of library school in 2021, and then I came right in 2 months later as the children's librarian. Um, it seems like people are summarizing what their library is like, so I'm going to summarize what my staff is like in the children's room. So I have two full-time staff members on, including me as well. So there's three of us who at the beginning, I asked them to please tell me what they have done in the past for homeschoolers, what they enjoyed, what they would like to do. They gave me a lot of feedback of what they've done. And then I asked them to tell me, is there certain ages or is there certain subjects they would like to do a homeschool Thursday weekly, and we came to a decision that one liked to do the art and another one wanted to do STEM, and I wanted to do different themes that I learned in my school. So we came to an agreement that we'll do it on Thursdays, and we kind of did a rotation, and it kind of worked out. We planned already in advance on what we were going to teach. We started at probably the beginning of the summer, so we got enough time to lead up to the next school year. So we had a majority of the summer to gather our materials and set up the stuff for our homeschoolers. So our next one, I will talk about, we did a Maine unit. So I did this by myself and I did it, no, I did with 4-H, my apologies, with 4-H, and we did a Maine unit and a graphic novel unit, which I put in both of these. She helped me a lot with what some schools were doing. So when I looked at it, I knew I wanted to hit the main things like first off, mooses and chickadees. Those are our main animals that are well known in Maine. So what I want to do as a person is I wanted to set goals for myself. So when I was doing this unit, I wanted to make sure that I hit these factors like the moose. I wanted them to identify a moose and a deer. Sadly, they probably could get that mix confused because they both have antlers. I wanted them to read and ask them to add moose environment and food in the background when we did our activity, because a lot of it was I wanted to read and then I wanted them to use what they learned on an activity. And then I left tips that I thought were great. I cut out the parts in advance just to save time. And then I also, when we were discussing this homeschool, I also mentioned to their staff, we are not teachers. We're not teachers. We're here to give resources and to have fun, but we want the parents to be involved and to use these resources to continue their education or continue what we have shown at home. So I gave you some of the documents that I had. So I got the moose body parts. I gave you the materials that we used and the books that I used. You can always use different types of books in your collection. So I used the moose by the Amazing Animals, and we did a story time about it, and then we did arts and crafts. I did the same thing for the chickadee. I first off included more media to this one instead of the moose. I found a YouTube channel that had chickadee noises and bird noises. So what I did was I wanted everyone to hear the chickadee noise, and then we did a trivia like, when we heard this bird, do you think that was a chickadee or do you think it was a robin? So we kind of would want to hear what chickadees were like in their surrounding areas since they live in Maine. Then I wanted them to also remember that chickadees are non-migrant birds. So I wanted to teach them what migrant birds are and non-migrant birds are. And then some tips that I found out was I wanted the caregivers or the parents to work with the kids during creating the chickadee. I wanted them to learn how to help each other glue on the parts of the birds. I wanted them to ask questions about the birds. And then I worked as a team to label the parts of the chickadee. So they can work on their writing and their coordination. So I tried to make sure I factor in all of those. And then as an optional, I asked the group to label 2 fun facts. Since I read the books and we listened to them, I wanted them to put 2 fun things that they learned from that session to hopefully support or harden what I've taught them. So that is one one week. I did these on weeklies, and they only last 45 minutes. If anyone was wondering, I did 45 minutes, and I did not do a sign up. I did a walk-in, but I did in my back of my head remind myself that I probably should prepare more in advance, not less. So that's what I did also. Then the following one, I did 16 counties. I went and I found the music online. I went online and found a template that has the 16 counties. I had the kids color them in, while also reading the book, the Maine Birthday Book. I love that book because it shows you all the main animals and scenery. But what I love the most is that every time they go to a different county, there's a map that glows the county. So you can literally turn the book over and show them what county so they can see it, color it, and write it down. Um, and then I had a packet that has all the counties that have the towns and the population. So what I asked them to do is whatever town they went to, I wanted to go into that paper. I wanted them to highlight their town and see what the population was, so they can see that on their map. Next, I did Maine flags. I brought up that we had two different flags back in the day, so I used the Maine book. I know that there's so many different editions, so whatever is your current one, I would suggest use that one because I noticed that there was some political icons like Susan Collins and Mills with like we're not in one of them. So I try to make sure I have the up-to-date one to teach. And then I asked them to color the flag like we have, like the blue one, and I will read them the meaning behind it, like why are the people yellow? Why do we have Maine? Why is it that color? So they understand. And then I show them the 1990s version to show them what it was back then. And then just to make sure that since I talked about lobsters and mooses and our pine trees, I then want them to use their imagination. So I give them a blank piece of paper and I ask if you could make a state map of Maine, what icons or what colors do you think would represent Maine? And it's pretty interesting to see what they would correlate. Um, so I use that as a way to do some homeworks just in case that they need to show proof that they've done main units. This isn't a proof factor. I haven't had a parent ask to write a letter or sign anything. So I just try to do activities that will show proof that they attended some format of main unit. Next slide, please. Lastly, I did Maine, the pine trees. So I did a book and then I did an arts and crafts where I had a tree and I taught them that pine trees, they grow up to a foot. So I said, how old are you guys? And usually they're like, I'm 7, I'm 8. So I said, okay, please measure me how long you would be as a pine tree and stuff. And then depending on how many kids I have, we will literally make a pine tree a foot long on our wall and allow the kids to make their style of pine trees. It was really cute to see a community pine tree. I hung it up for them for a while in our Maggie room. It was really great. And then the last one I did not do last year that I'm going to do this year is I'm thinking if we're going to make blueberry parfaits or something since blueberries are a big important factor in our community, in our state. So I'm thinking about reading Blueberries for Sal, making yogurt parfaits, and then using a News Center Maine channel to talk about the blueberries that are happening and where you can come pick them and all that stuff. So I thought that would be a great one to use. So that is one of my main units. I have always asked for more feedback from our nonfiction, from our homeschooling communities, asked, is there any other main units that they would like to see? They said that they like what we're bringing, but I'm always looking for more information or ways to improve my homeschooling unit. So that is my main unit. I have the slide available for everyone. I will update some of my changes that I notice I have to fix, but yes. Next one, Cara. Next, we got a grant from the Beacon Society. They have a literacy program for Sherlock Holmes. We applied and we got the grant. So this one took a lot of work. This was more for the public, this program, but we noticed that a lot of homeschoolers use this as one of their literacy ones. So we partnered with a teen librarian and we read 4 of Sherlock Holmes books, and we decided which one we like. And we decided to read the Dancing Men, And then to hopefully make it fun, we contact our local performing arts, and we had actual local performers that read the book, and they came and they reenacted the three students, because what we want to do is do a book club to show what Sherlock Holmes was, how we can tie in current themes of Criminal Minds or CSI, what they've read, what have they watched. Do they want to become a cop? We'll talk about careers. We broke all those parts about what criminal justice is and how detective work is very popular. And so we had the book club, and afterwards we actually had them be detectives and use that skills that they learned from Sherlock Holmes. And it was amazing. They had their detective books that gave them hints about who, what, when, where, why, when asking questions. We gave hints about the crimes. So we have all these available. We knew if we did not get the grant that we were still going to do this, even though the grant helped a lot with the funding of the materials. We knew that if we didn't, we still had it in our budget. So definitely reach out to them. They do it every year, I believe so. So definitely look into that. Next slide, Cara. Next is we had one of our full-time staff member, Heather. She did homeschool art. This is one that I was really amazed when she was creating them. She decided to do a art biography. So she grabbed multiple artists who were not really big in the art world, but had really amazing arts, like sculptures or like wire sculptures. So she did more of that, where she did a biography about the person, showed their work, and then the kids did their own mimic of the art of the person's artwork. This is her blurb that she used. So if anyone wants to do this one or do an artist one, this is the verbiage and the write-up that we used. We really tried our best to keep it at a certain age group that we knew that was appropriate, since we were doing wires and scissors and all that stuff. We definitely knew we didn't want it for younger. So keep that in mind when you're doing art. If there's certain things that are sharp or dangerous, just be aware of that, of the age. Next one, please. We do a homeschool hour as well here at Auburn, but that's longer. So we found out that another way, instead of homeschool library skills, we did personalized canvas tote bags, where they come in and we provide the tote bags and they make it. And we hope that this is another way to get them to come back again, or come into the library, look around, see, and have their own personal bags to come and put their own books in. We found out that that is a great way to getting people in that are new in the homeschool community, or just in your own environment, in your own community. So as I said, this is the write-up that we used. We do provide everything. We do sign-ups for this one, since we are providing the materials. We did this program for an hour, and we did it in our Maggie room away from the public, so it wouldn't get confused who signed up and who did not sign up. But it was a great turnout, and we are going to do this one again the following year. And then our second one is Karina did our homeschool nonfiction story time. We've done this Morse code multiple times. We had families come in, and she did this for 45 minutes. She did it in the Maggie room. And what she did first was read the book to the crowd, to the group, about who Samuel Morse was. And then she went online and went on YouTube, and they found a video that will show you the print of whatever the Morse code is, and then the sound, so you can actually hear the sound effects of it. And then afterwards, she showed the sheet of the code, and they got to decipher their names, and then they used string or pipe cleaner and beads to spell out their name. We do get roughly 4 to 5 families attend this one, so this is a great one for STEM. Next, as I mentioned, we did our graphic novel club at 4-H. We did this weekly. The way that we did it was, we already told the parents in advance that this is a commitment that they will need to commit to. If we did it 6 weeks. They're committed to being there 5 out of the 6 sessions because we would be teaching them how to create a graphic novel. For example, this is my little cheat sheet, and I have a curriculum page set up. So if you want, Car has this, but I'm already starting my one for this spring. So I had like April 6th from 4 to 5:30. They will talk about how do you read graphic novels? What are different types of graphic novels? Like there's manga, there's web comics online. So we talk about different genres and different formats. And then I ask, if you're going to create a graphic novel, what's your audience? What's the character you're going to want to create? And then after they know what the setup is, what they're getting into, that they're actually going to create a book by themselves and stuff, then the next session, we break it down to, okay, I want to talk about settings. I want to talk about secondary characters. Or if you are going to have a hero who's going to be the villain, and then descriptions about individual projects or collaboration. Since this is a graphic novel, I want them to decide, do they want to work by themselves? Like, I have an idea, this is what it is. Or if they met someone, they're like, hey, do you like animals? I like animals. Do you want to collaborate? So I gave them an option to decide if they do or do not want to work together on a graphic novel project. Next, the following week, they come in and, oh, no, sorry. Not next slide, apologies. The following week, then I will then do illustrations, facial expressions, focus points, layout. So I really try to dive deep into what it takes to be a graphic novelist and an illustrator and a writer. I do teach them like beginning, middle, and end. So it's a very intense one. I do ask the parents that to continue bringing their kids and to know that they will be able to publish their books. So at the very end of the sessions, I will make copies of them and then they'll fold them and they can bring their friends and families and they can get to sign a copy and give it to their friends. So we've done it in the past. A lot of kids loved it. So Cara, the next session, if you next one, I'll show you. This is the type of paper I use. I found it online. I use cardstock and I use the double-sided, and then I just fold them, and then I think I give them like 5 to 6 copies, and then we fold it, and then I give them free range to start practicing, to start working on their project. So yes, and then I just use Canva comic ones, so bang, kapow. So you don't have to go out and buy that at on Amazon. Canva is a great one, so save your money. I use those all the time. So I think I have one more, Cara. Yes, and then this is going to be our first time. Last year we did it, and we didn't think about the timing. So this is going to be our first time. We're going to do our homeschool science fair. I'm working with a homeschool mother who is a teacher. And I mentioned to her last year, we didn't have a curriculum that much. We really just had like, come do a science fair, tell us what you did, and that's it. And it didn't work out. So this year, I met with her. She actually created a rubric that is available on the site. So if a homeschooler signs up, they will already have a rubric of like what we expect. They have free range of what they want to experiment on. And then there's a day that they'll come and they'll have a table out with, if they want to put a PowerPoint or a bulletin board, whatever, they'll be there and they'll be able to walk around, meet everyone. And then the high school librarian, the teen librarian and I will be the judges, and we'll be going over and listening. And we're hoping if we get enough, we would possibly have a prize if we can notice that we might have a good amount. We currently have 2 sign up. So as I said, this is going to be our first year actually doing it early enough. So hopefully we'll get enough participation, and then hopefully we can do this next year because people will hopefully talk about it and all that stuff. So wish me luck on this one. So I hope this one will do well. But if you would like, I have access to the rubric if you want to try it. I know that we set it up at 10 o'clock because I know that when we went to Rain Roundup and other conferences, people always said that they had a better time getting high school kids in, but between 10 and 1 and stuff. So I try my best to make sure that we have our homeschool programs around that time. And then my last one I want to give is just to let everyone know that don't you don't always have to say yes to all the homeschool stuff. I know that when we did like a Lego club and a Pokemon club, everyone we had a lot of homeschool people was like, I want a homeschool one. And we did it, and we just noticed that we didn't get the same numbers. And I think we did had to talk as a team and kind of made a decision like, no, you guys can go and join public too. We're not going to accommodate that much. So if you are starting and you're seeing a lot of people like, I want to do this, and you're noticing that they can still come to the public, try to not say yes too much. So that's my food for thought.
Okay, I high five Brandon. That is true. Have families use the programs that you are already offering. I'm not going to explain myself much. I've been around for a long time. I'm the youth services librarian at Springville Public Library. We have a very active homeschooling population. It has grown over the years. I started with probably in, I don't know, 2005, 2006, trying to just do a gaming hour. And that worked for a few. And then I got feedback from families that they're actually really looking for educational things. And at the time, I just personally wasn't able to do that. I'm a powerhouse of one here for youth services. It's just me. But we now on a yearly basis, I have a monthly program at the second Friday of every month for 1 hour. And it's only during the school year. And I'm very aware of time here. So there's some things I don't need to go over with you, but the two most important things that has helped me, thank you, Kara, is one, I use an email distribution list, and that way I can communicate with all the families what's going to be going on each month. That way, if in the big publicity of things, resources come by my desk, I can send it off to the email, the families. So that has been really important. And this year in August, I made a survey and I asked, what do you want during the school year? So as this slide talks about, this is what Leslie, our director, and I came together with a few years ago, specifically for what in September, the topic is library skills. And this is what I can provide. I got this information by calling my connection at the school, the kindergarten librarians at the school, and said, what do you teach, primary kids, about this? And this is what they suggested. So, and I will leave that there. We'll go to the next slide, Kara, if you don't mind. This is just, so some of the fun things that we do at Library Skills, this September, we had 53 people show up. Their ages between 2 and 15. Families know that it's a variety. We've learned how to be flexible in a variety. I have different skill sets ready to go, knowing that there's going to be a variety of groups. I find that the groups, they know that they're going to might have to be patient while the younger ones get a story, and then the older ones. So what I've done is I'll do maybe a story. Let me see. If you want to go to the next slide too, Kara, that'll help. Whoops. Okay, I guess if you want to go back, I thought I sent in something that would help, but I have, and I'll make sure that this gets to the group later, but I had picture books to support different library skills story times, whether it's parts of a story or setting or a narrator, alliteration. So I have all that kind of stuff that we will, I can provide to you later. But so the story times might have one story, and then we have the smaller kids go out. I give them bookmarks that have a color and say, find a book in the library that color or whatever. And then the older kids and I pull out my cards, just plain index cards with the Dewey Decimal System number on one side and what it is on the back. And we play Pictionary. And this is one of the Pictionary that it's like a piece of art when you get done with the group. But it's fun. I make the parents do it too. So everybody's learning Dewey Decimal. Okay, Kara, you can move to the next one. I'm very aware of time here. So here are some other things we have done over the years. We've done STEM. We did Valentine circuit cards. Let me tell you, I bought all that stuff for the circuit stuff, and we have trouble making it work every single time. But they're great. You know, everybody jumps in and tries to help each other make it happen. And every year it's different families, and I've done different things. So let me think what else I can tell you. So each month we do different things, and I have been, like this past October we had the fire prevention. We had the Sanford Fire Department come. They got to see the truck. You know, you got to touch the truck. It's fun. In November, we had the Maine Scarborough Audubon Society come, and we actually walked through the trail in where I am in Sanford and Springville. There's some amazing trails. So we met at a trail, and we did pay $100 for this. We usually don't put money out for this, but we did do that. And it was about Maine habitats. So the speaker, Wyatt, he was fabulous. We were thinking 20 people were going to show up. We had 34. But he was just phenomenal. And we walked around and we talked about habitats, and he had some activities out in the there. Sorry. Excuse me. And then January, we had winter wellness. Obviously, I didn't get the memo from winter wellness. But every year we have a family member who I've had a nutritionist who comes and talks. She was a family member that was a homeschooling mom. You know, I guess use your homeschooling expertise families. They can provide information too. Okay, you can go to the next slide. We've done coding, and you can go to the next slide. And BBots, these are fabulous. And you can go to the next slide. And we've made slime, very fun. And I had a retired teacher who set up this whole thing. And this was the one time that I set an age limit to the program. It needed to be older kids who could actually independently do things. And it was really fun. And I didn't have to do any of that teaching. I'm providing, like Brennan said, I'm providing resources. So I find other people in the community that can help do things. And so that's how it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, speakers. That was all so much great content. I do recognize we are just about out of time. And several of our speakers answered questions in the chat, so I appreciate that. I think the most important thing that did not get answered is Brandon, what was under the bucket?
Oh yeah. Oh, so sorry. It was a bat. There was a bat underneath. We had a bat in the library and it escaped twice. And then we had to throw someone's scarf. I think it was Heather's scarf. And then I just like put the trash bin and I just sat on it and I sit there for like 45 minutes. So sorry, I forgot about that.
Gross. Oh, libraries are fun.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much. I did jump
Susie.
on that.
I have a question for all of the speakers or anybody. I work at the University of Southern Maine in special collections, and we made contact with a homeschool adventure club, and they have come in and for subject-based learning. So we use our primary resources in special collections for a hands-on look at various topics. For instance, we had them come in and look at newspapers and posters and buttons created by the LGBTQ community during their fight for civil rights. And we have a group coming, that same group coming back to look at racism in children's textbooks. Is there any resource where I can find other homeschool groups that I could reach out to and say, here's what Special Collections has and topics that we could have your students learn from primary documents?
I don't know if this will answer it, but there's like only two homeschool outlets that I use is Homeschoolers of Maine. They have like on their thing it said they only do homeschoolers, but when I started doing it, I reached out. I'm like, hey, I'm not a homeschooler, but I'm a librarian and I can provide homeschooling resources, and they accepted me right away. And then depending on where you live, you might just want to type in, like I typed in Lewis and Auburn homeschool and I found a group. So you might just put your town and see if there's a homeschool group already on Facebook, and then just reach out explaining that you're the librarian and that you are working with the community to promote your programs for them and see if they'll let you in. Usually if you just say they're here to help them with resources, they'll probably accept you right away. But that's one thing that I've done and it has worked.
I'll also add too, you may want to reach out to the folks at the Maine State Museum. I believe they do work around having primary documents, and I actually see one or more of the staff members is here.
Hello.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, I was distracted by a text from a daycare, so I won't pretend that I heard all of that, but we do offer, I'll put it in the chat. We've got, yeah, free, oh, and no, we're not open, sorry. October 24th will be open, but we've got a website with free themed primary source sets on different topics in Maine history. So that's something that could be a really great library program. Like you could just print off the sheets and use them as a thing. I think if we had the time, we were talking about how like that could have been a fun homeschool program, but we probably won't be using it for that anytime soon.
And Kate, you're speaking from. Okay, got it.
With Maine State Archive and Maine State Library, so all of our organizations pooled our resources to get these primary source sets.
Okay, yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate the question. I do want to, we're running just a bit over, so I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, but you can contact any of our speakers if you'd like to talk to Kate more. Her info is online, but you can also just email me and I'll connect you. Thank you to all of our speakers for today. Thank you to all who attended. You will get the recording with the slides and all the handouts that I have hopefully next week. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and warm this weekend.